Judge Parker has the name hanging judge, and it's kind of a misnomer on him because, like I said, he would have had, let's say, as many as 20,000 cases. And of those cases, 300 and some of them are actual capital cases. Then of those, you only had 79 that are executed of, say, 20,000 cases. So that is not even 1% of the cases that he would have seen. So he's taken an entire statewide crime wave and coming through in one single court system, and he's setting over it. At that time in American history, if you are convicted of murder, it is a mandatory death sentence. The judge has no say in the matter whatsoever. And so he would just hand down the mandatory sentence, and which, again, they called him the hanging judge because here's one person over 79 executions, but even though he had nothing to do with them as far as executions. There's a lot of movies about him, of course. You have like Hang 'em High, where he does the whole emperor thumbs up, thumbs down thing. That's all made up. And then, of course, you have True Grit, where he watches the execution in the movies. That's also incorrect. He didn't watch any of the executions, but he gets that name. And we do get a lot of people who've watched the movies and read the books, and they come in, and we get to kind of educate them on exactly what truly happened here. When Judge Parker first came in 1872 until 1890 or so, the prisoners would have been down what we call the Hell in the Border Jail. It's a very rough area. You would have had prisoners from all walks of life for all different crimes. You would only had a couple of buckets for actual bathing, one single cup used for drinking out of for everybody to share, and a couple of bathroom buckets that were only dumped once a day. And you can imagine the smell in there, much less the criminals, and there's a reason they call it the Hell in the Border Jail. The small room on the right side is actually what we call a sally port, and that was basically built as a security measure. You would be brought in the first door, lock it behind you, then bring you through the second door. That way the prisoners couldn't, say, rush the door at the same time, get out all at the same time. Early on, we had gallows there basically from 1872 up until 1896. The gallows that is currently outside is the 1886 model gallows. They are the last and the largest of the gallows. They were meant to do is they could hang as many as 8 people at the same time. They never did more than 6 at the same time. Sometimes you have crowds that would show up at these executions, as few as 2 people and as many as several thousand. So some of the movies that were played about them, the huge crowds, is actually pretty accurate. Would definitely call this an ArcaGem, you betcha. We have a lot of rough stories here. People come in and we may discuss, capital punishment or the gallows, or what people might misknow Judge Parker as is, the hanging judge. But then again, when they come here, is we have an enormous amount of human stories and stories of survival, stories of trying to rise up against the problems that were created, especially for the Native Americans in the mid and late 19th century.